You can share it with others.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, hello. What's your name?
Preetu.
Hello, Preetu. Where are you coming from?
I'm in India, I'm in Odisha.
Oh, Narissa, great. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. Where are you?
I am located in Kolkata at the moment.
Okay. So I'm using audio calling. I hope that's fine.
Yeah, it's no problem at all. Whatever works best for you.
Yeah. So hi all of you.
Yeah, so I have, I'm going to mute everybody now, so you can just go ahead and start. Yeah, just a little rundown of our meeting, what's going to be happening. I will just be sharing some information on the new moon in Gemini and what that means for us in this coming lunar cycle. And then I decided, because I just started this and there are 7 new moons left in the year, that we would just do a little theme about the chakra system. And today focusing on the first chakra, the root chakra. And so I will be, just leading some meditations and helping us figure out for ourselves what our root chakra means for us and where it's balanced or unbalanced, and how to bring that into balance, and the archetypes that come in with our root chakra. And then I'll be, because most of my work is based on the menstrual cycle, I'll be sharing a bit on how the root chakra is connected to our menstrual cycle. And then we'll have a time at the end to set an intention for our month ahead. And a new moon time is a great time to set our intentions, and then you can always revisit them throughout the month. So I'll just start by giving a little intro to myself, since some of you are new and do not know me yet. So as I said, my name is Meghna, and I am here in Kolkata, India, and I came here about 8 years ago, and I now run a social enterprise called Shimota that is making reusable cloth pads and doing menstrual health education here in Kolkata and West Bengal. And so out of that work, I have really found a passion to help women connect with their bodies, and particularly through the menstrual cycle. And so that's kind of why I have started this new venture, which is called Divine Flow. And it's a place for women to really connect with themselves, to connect with one another, to dive deeper into the mystery of the menstrual cycle and the energies that it carries for all of us. So that's why I wanted to start this online women's circle, and to be able to allow women to connect with one another and guide you in ways to connect with your body. So thank you all for showing up, and for the first one. So it'll be exciting to see where it goes from here. And I guess I will also share, since I practice something called the menstrual cycle awareness. And so that means that I am tracking my cycle, where I am on any particular day and what energies that day carries for me. So I will just personally share that I am on day 20 of my cycle, which means I'm coming into my premenstrual phase, which is always quite rocky, or it can be, quite liberating and freeing, depending. So if any of you know where you are on your cycle, I would be interested to know, yeah, what your experiences are today, where you are in that cycle. So you can either unmute and share, or you can go ahead and put it in the chat box to share with us all that. Yeah, so we will just begin first by doing just a centering practice. So you can find a space to sit comfortably, and we're going to just gently close your eyes and just begin with a deep inhale, filling up your lungs to the top, and exhale slowly. Again, take a deep inhale, bringing your breath to your lower belly, your womb space, filling fully, and gently, slowly exhale. For the third breath, take the deepest breath you have taken all day today. Breathe, inhale, and exhale every ounce of breath that you have. And come back to normal breathing. Just feeling centered and grounded in your body. Feeling centered and grounded in this circle. Feeling the energies of the other women that have joined with us today. Take one last deep inhale. And exhale slowly. You can gently open your eyes. So the main theme for today that I wanted to share was that feeling of groundedness and centeredness. And if we look at the new moon in Gemini, the sign of Gemini is all about duality. It's the two twins. So it is the combining of the dark and the light, of the positive and the negative, all things that are in tension with one another. And Gemini is what calls us to sit in the paradox between the two, to find our centeredness and our groundedness, even though there are opposing forces pulling us in different directions. And while also Gemini can be very distracted, and because it is pulling in so many directions, it can be hard to find our center and to find our groundedness. And I myself am a Gemini rising sign, so my ascendant sign is rising, is in Gemini. And so I often feel this, especially in my work. I feel the pull to try and do 50 different things at the same time. Everything feels like it needs my attention and pulling me in different directions. To continually come back to grounding and finding my center. Yeah, I'm interested to know from any of you, if you know what some of your zodiac signs are. And if any of you have Gemini in your sign and what your experience is for that. So would love to hear from you if you want to put it in the chat box or unmute yourself and share. Yeah, so I can find Gemini challenging, and this new moon has already been a bit of a challenge for me personally, and there's a lot of big questions have been coming up for me that I having trouble finding the centered and grounded ness in all of the duality of the questions that are coming up. So yeah, do any of you know what your zodiac signs are? Either your sun sign or your moon sign, your rising, whatever those are.
Yeah, for me, it's Libra.
Libra. Okay.
I think it's, I'm not quite sure. It's possibly Taurian that I have as my rising.
Okay. Yeah.
Not quite sure.
Thank you.
Hi, mine is Virgo.
Oh, Virgo.
Yeah. And I think sunshine would be Leo.
Oh, and Leo. Okay.
Yeah, and the moon sign is Virgo.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
My birth sign is Pisces, but I don't know whether what my rising sign is or something. I've not ever thought of that. But what I would also like to share with the group is that I've crossed my menopause some maybe about 12, 13 years ago. And but I'm very interested to look at so what does it mean for a crone to be connected to the moon cycle?
Yes.
And so of course I practice a lot of connecting to the womb, but then what does it mean? And so therefore I'm here with a lot of curiosity and wanting to learn.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Experience the I am not yet in menopause, as I had expressed. I'm on day 20 of my cycle, but yeah, one of my teachers that I have learned my menstrual cycle awareness from, he often is focusing on women that are in menopause and using the moon cycle with the different energies of our body in our womb space. And so it's which we'll be connecting with today in a little bit, because it is connected to the time of menstruation is also connected to the time of the new moon. So that time during your cycle, when you would have menstruated, is the time that is most connected to the new moon, and the sort of the restart button, the grounding button in the moon cycle. So I'll be sharing a bit of that.
Thank you. That's great.
Sri Lakshmi, we almost have the same cycle. She's on day 21, so we are almost synced up. That's great. Yeah, so with this new moon in Gemini, as I said, it's very important this moon cycle to find our centeredness and to find our grounding, because we will be pulled in different directions, and it will be difficult to come back into our bodies where we can find our grounding and our centeredness. So I thought it was very fitting today that we will focus on the root chakras that is the grounding and the base of our chakra system. And For those of you that aren't familiar with the chakra system, it is the set there. There has been said that there is more than 7, but there are 7 main energy centers within our body, within our energetic body, our subtle body. So they might not be able to be seen in the physical body, but they manifest physically in different ways in our body and in our relationships that we have. And so the 7 centers, the very first one that starts is the root chakra, the base chakra. And the word chakra just means wheel in Sanskrit, and which is also the same word in Bengali, chakra, which means wheel. So the idea is that it is a wheel of energy that is located from the base of your spine to the top of your head. And the root chakra being the one at the base of our spine. And as women, I like to sort of experience where this energy center might be within us. So some people have said that they can feel the energy in the anus area, or in the perineum, which is the area between the anus and the opening of the vagina. But my womb yoga teacher, she likes to say that she feels the energy either in her vulva or in her pelvic floor, the muscle that is holding up your womb. So I like to play with that and kind of see where is my grounding energy coming from. And as women, I think that's an important part to sort of feel where that energy is for you. Where is it in the base of your body? So when we do our guided meditation a little later, you can sort of see where that energy is coming up for you in your body. Yeah, so a little bit about the root chakra is that when it is unbalanced, there are quite a few things that come up. And the root chakra is connected to our means of survival. So if anything comes up based on our survival, like our food or shelter or our family relationships where we grew up, our childhood. So those are all connected to our root chakra. And it can also be this emotional connection that is to security and feeling safe. And so if our root chakra is out of balance, it often comes with fear. And there's an insecurity that we can't find our groundedness, we can't so much fear and anxiety around our situation or our lifestyle or whatever it may be. It's also connected to our legs as the foundation of our body. So our legs are connected, and our feet, as well as sort of this skeleton of our body. So our bones and our blood, sort of the life force within us, which is the foundation of what everything else is built upon. And also our adrenal glands. So our adrenal glands are the ones that are connected to our fight and flight mechanism. So they are the ones that are regulating our stress hormones and letting us know whether a situation or a relationship or whatever it is, if it is safe or not for us to be in. So whenever we experience something that is threatening our survival, then our root chakra will go out of balance. And some of those things, some of those things that threaten us could be a breakdown in a relationship, whether it's friendship or divorce, whether it's you losing your job, or you have a health scare, some sort of illness for you or a family member. All of those things can really, shake up our foundation and cause our root chakra to go out of balance. And some of the manifestations when that happens, when our root chakra is out of balance, is that we can become really low energy, and that would be in connection to our adrenal glands being overworked because of so much stress that we really have no energy to go about normal tasks. And you could be easily triggered or angry for no real apparent reason. It could be you have a weakened immune system, or you are dealing with some sort of addiction or cravings that you don't normally have. And as I said before, insecurity and anxiety, depression, those are all some signs that your root chakra is out of balance, or you have been shaken to your foundation, your grounding. And some of those also lower back pain. Lower back pain can be also a sign, because that's where the energetic center is of your root chakra. So I just want you to right now kind of think back, either recently or something that has come up for you that has been very that is threatened your survival, or that has shaken your foundation or your core, and just thinking about that situation. And you might even want to, actually, let's close our eyes, and I'll guide you into sort of feeling where that might be in your body. So go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and exhale slowly. Now become aware of that situation where you felt threatened, where your survival was threatened, great loss, where you were struggling to know where to go next. As you are aware of this situation, I want you to just gently scan your body and see if there's any particular sensation in your body. Has any pain arisen? Is there any tingling sensation? Anything at all? Just become aware of it. Don't try and fix it or change it. Just notice the sensation. And as we again take a deep inhale, as you exhale, release that sensation out into the universe. Allow it to float away from you. Gently open your eyes. So I'm interested to hear if anybody, if you want to share either what your situation was that you thought of, or if you want to share what sort of body feeling you had from that. And a little later, I will do another short meditation that we will try and come back and heal that situation within us. So does anybody want to share the situation or just the experience of the body sensation that came up for them?
Hi. So I've been going through a very breakdown phase right now. Like I was involved with a guy for like 4 or 5 months, and I was very attached to the guy, physically, emotionally, and spiritually always. And like because of the past I carried, I became very eruptive at a point, very disbalanced and very reactive, which most probably led to his breakdown, and he lost the connect with me, and so we lost the connect we had basically, and he is not he does not want it anymore, and I got very much attached, and so in such a state wherein I'm very disbalanced. So I've been trying to work it out, but suddenly those eruptions happen and I freak out, and I like get totally paranoid, and I get very insecure, and I see him going to another girl. It's more weird. Like I know deep down that this is very temporary, but like in those moments, I'm not able. Like it feels like a last day of the world, and it's very bad. So yesterday also I was into it only. Like I kept on crying and anxiety and panic attacks and all that. So that's been happening.
Yeah, did you feel any particular body sensation when you went into your body?
Yeah, so my body got really weak, and I it was very anxious majority of the time, and I felt like at times I would be totally numb and I would not feel anything at all, and it was like weird things happening. So so at times I would get very non-reactive, and at times I would get totally like I would have a lot of energy and I would be very angry and would like to probably go and smash someone. And at times I would be like, it's the end of the world. I should just stay on my bed and that's all I can do. And total drop downs to drop ups, but majorly drop downs.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, does anybody else?
I'd like to go. Actually, when I close I am going through a divorce, but that's not what came up as something. Though yes, I've gone through a lot of ups and downs with it, and a lot of rage that got released in the process and all that. But what really came to my mind was the whole motherhood itself. I have an 8-year-old son, but I think for me, a major life-changing event has been that of becoming a mother, and it brings in such a great sense of instability, and um, you're at the mercy of something totally out of you, and you don't know how. The children, as they're growing up every day, is so different, and so it's like, as a mother, one doesn't have a handle of what's going on, and it feels like a continuous movement of unpredictability and uncertainty and all of that, and that's what came to my whole being. And we're somehow made to suppress all of that and feel very great about motherhood. I love being a mother, I'm not saying that, but somewhere when as a human being one is totally you know counted down, and then the only aspect of you that everyone keeps linking to is being a mother, and all the expectations, especially in India, attached to that, and all the guilt that goes along with um, um, performing that role, entire role. That's what very strongly came to my mind. And even now, when I, for instance, the morning calls are difficult because it's also the time that he wakes up and he has other things. But we had spoken about it last night, and he's sort of hovering around and doing his things, but also very interested in what's going on here. So, but I know that to really be with him, for me, that's also groundedness, to be fully present and be aware as another human being. And I know that as a child, there's so much that he doesn't understand of the world and what's happening to him, and that he requires. At the same time, that for him to be able to see me also as another human being, I feel that's a constant struggle that I have been going through for the last 8 years. Though it's a little better now that he can talk and I can actually tell him things. And he's quite a sensitive fellow, so there's a lot of that. So that's what the entire thing that came on to me as I was, closing my eyes and looking at everything. The three sensation which has predominantly been there ever since, but though I think the intensity of pain is much lower, right? One is I'll have this burning in the knees, in my both knees. I'll feel this burning, and from my lower back, but more on the left side of the lower back onto my thighs, there's this pulling sensation that happens. And also I feel it gets aggravated with, I drive, so a lot of the driving in India is, your foot is constantly on the clutch, and I wonder that, sometimes he's the pull because of that, but there is that nagging kind of a thing. And at the middle of my back, there is, I get this kind of numbness, and, that I can't move my back freely. So these are the three sensations. But as I said, it's much better than what it used to be earlier. The earlier the mornings, I would take quite some time to really get out of the bed with energy, but right now that's really moving.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, does anybody else want to share briefly?
So waiting and wondering whether Rona, who's the other one on the circle, wants to speak. But so let me go. Life situation. Initially, I was my first thought was there's really nothing much. I mean, everything is okay and going on. But then I quickly said, "Who are you fooling?" So then I then what came up was the deep down anxiety that I feel and have for wanting to make something more lasting and deep down for other women around me. And I mean, working with women has been about 3 decades of my life itself, but more from the professional point of view. But of late, to the past 4 years, it's been much more very less professional, in the mean that from work point of view, but more to do with my personhood being available for this work and this task of working with women. So there is an anxiety that I need to do more, and I need to be it's going to slow the things that I want to do, and things like so. That is the main thing that I know I'm struggling with right now. That's the anxiety that I'm feeling. As far as during the meditation, the body sensations, I do have a low back pain, which is always there, but it's more to do with, I think, So I do a lot of, I mean, I'm a yoga practitioner and a teacher, and if I don't do yoga for 2 days for whatever reason, the pain is back. But if I am continuous in my yoga, then the pain is not there. So right now, today, I don't have the back pain. But what I do have is a pain in my heel of the right foot, in the heel, in the bottom, and it's very painful because I can't walk very freely, and I can't stand freely. And there are no medical reasons. I've got it checked and all that, and it's the orthopedic doctor said it's just something that it's common with many people, and you need to manage it or take painkillers. And so I've not taken any painkillers so far. So I'm just trying to manage it with hot and cold water fermentation and things like that. But the pain is there. Like even today, getting up from the bed and putting my foot on the ground and walking becomes a problem. It's just at one point in the heel of the right foot. Yeah, so my focus is there right now.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So much to Megan's surprise, I am going to speak. Yes, as I was going through, as we did the last meditation, I actually had a tingling in both of my arms. I don't know where that was coming from, but as we were going through it, I had that sensation. And the situation that came to mind for me is a recent situation that my husband is going through with his family, and a separation from a parent that's become very difficult. And I'm kind of on the fringe of that, but anybody who knows me knows I'm anxiety ridden anyways. So family situations always get me to the core, and this one's been pretty hard. So that's what came to mind for me.
Thanks, Mom. For those of you that didn't know, that's my mother. I'm very grateful that she's here.
Wow, that is amazing. Your mother
Yes.
on the circle with us. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Lovely.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yes, that's not easy for me. I'm not a big sharer. So, yeah.
But it's a blessing to have your mother with you on such important work that you're doing, Megan. I'm really thankful for that. Yeah.
Yes. I'm also very thankful. I will also just share for me, coming out of that, the situation that is coming up for me is based around my work that I'm trying to start, and what's coming up is that it's going to be probably a long, hard road to sort of get it off the ground to the point where I'm able to support myself. I left my previous job about a year ago and spent the last year in the States on a sabbatical, sort of trying to figure out what to do with my life. And so coming back here to India earlier this year and sort of trying to launch this new work that I'm doing has been difficult, and it's been something that has I don't usually experience a lot of anxiety, but I experience quite a bit of doubt in myself and my ability to lead and guide other women on this path. And so I'm very grateful that my mother is here supporting that, and that you have all decided to show up today and sort of see the beginnings of this this offering that I am beginning to share with the world. So that's still where I come back to when I think about my yeah, that energy of the root chakra, and just the trying to survive in the world, because we all have to do things to try and survive in the world. So what I will share that I found really interesting when I was doing some research on the root chakra is the archetypes that come with it. So if you're not familiar with archetypes, it's just the idea that there is a fixed human behavior in all humans that we might experience or manifest in our being, and they can show either our positive or our negative beliefs around certain situations or whatever might be coming up. So the archetype of a root chakra that is unbalanced is the victim archetype. And yeah, even just saying the word victim probably brings up some sort of feelings for all of us, and especially us as women in this world that's still dominantly patriarchal, and what it means to be a victim. But yeah, it's that feeling that the outside world, the outside forces are against you, and you're always asking the question, why me? Why did it have to be me in this situation? And when you're in this victim archetype, you think you have lost all of the ability to make a choice because you think everything is happening to you. So you lose your agency in your life and to make decisions for yourself. Yeah, so you get stuck in that state of either anxiety or filled with fear and hopelessness, and you can't really see a way out. You can't see a different way other than what is happening. And that's you often come to a place where you're blaming somebody or something for the situation that is going on in your life. And so with this victim archetype, when our root chakra is unbalanced, yeah, I just want you to sort of think about the situation that you shared, and think about in what ways that you might be experiencing this archetype. In what ways do you feel like these outside forces are happening to you, that there is somebody else or something else to blame for this situation? Yeah, where you have felt that you have lost your power and your agency to make a decision, to be a part of your life, an active part of your life. So in this situation then, whenever we come back to a grounding or a centeredness, we can then begin to see the other side of the root chakra. When the root chakra is in balance, the archetype is the mother. And so the idea is that the mother archetype is the one that is caring, that is forgiving, who makes us feel safe and secure. And so then, to sort of get out of this victim archetype, sometimes we need to just realize what we have done to create the situation, or maybe not even the situation, but how we have reacted to the situation. And realize that we all have choices, and we all have our own agency in our life, and we can choose how we react to certain situations. or relationships, whatever yours is that you're dealing with. And once you can take that choice and see that you can choose how you're reacting to it, your perspective begins to shift. And it doesn't then become the world against you. Then it becomes sort of like a dance. I like to think about it, that we are, dancing with the situations that are around us, and it's a flow. There's a movement to it that there sometimes can be, the push and pull that goes with it. But we have the agency to then either make a choice and choose to be an active part of that situation. So when we come into this mother archetype, then we can come into really being able to overcome this idea of being a victim and of blaming others, and one of really nurturing and caring for ourselves. And no matter whether your earthly mother, what your experience was with her, we all have an inner mother archetype within us, and that ability to allow that mother within us to be the mother of us. And I also believe we all have an inner child within us, and it is often our inner child that is the one that is the most triggered by situations that are happening around us. Often things are triggering our childhood wounds, and our inner child is hurting and jumps into a flight or fight situation. But are we able to grow that archetype of our inner mother to be able to mother our child within? And then it comes down to our self-care, because that's what the mother archetype does. It is our self-care. It is how we take care of ourselves and how we love ourselves, no matter what situation or where we are at in our lives. That the mother, the universal mother, is able to embrace us and forgive us for whatever has happened and love us completely through it all. So what I wanted to do, if you have your journal and your writing utensil with you, or if you just want to use your computer using Microsoft Word or whatever you have to type with, I just want you to come back to that, come back to your situation that you had thought of earlier, and that body sensation within you that you had experienced during the short meditation. And then once you have that in your mind, I want you to think of the ideal mother that you could have, whether your earthly mother was that or not. Think of the most caring mother you could possibly imagine. And when you are in that space of the most caring mother you can possibly imagine, I want you to just write a short letter to yourself or to your inner child about that situation, and express to yourself, express to your inner child how you are caring and loving them. So I will just give you a few minutes to sort of, and just freely write. Don't really think much about it. Just whatever comes out, allow that to come out, and allow your inner mother to care and love you during this time of writing the letter. So just take a couple of minutes, and I will come back whenever I will wrap it up. So 1 more minute to finish up your reading. If you want to finish up whatever you are writing. And if anybody would like to share that experience, or did you find it difficult to connect with your inner mother? Did you find it really easy and the words just poured out? How how was that connection for you?
Okay, I'll go. It actually came out quite not like a flood that that there was so much unexpressed, not like that but more of with ease of accepting all that's happening, and to say that the feeling was of there's a lot of okay, there are a lot of imperfect aspects, but with all of that I'm just present, and that sense of presence was very grounding, and the flow of writing was very easy, that in fact when at 1 minute I was like, no, there are a lot more that I need to write.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I am with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. For me, it was pretty. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For me too, it was pretty free flowing. I just put my pen and started writing, and what came up was the imagery with which I wrote. So it was not so much it was really more of the imagery, and the image which I got is that of my mother telling me that the many paths that you have, the roads that you have traveled are all now converging onto one path, and this path is not. I mean, this path is of red mud, which has pebbles on it, and all the sides are black cotton soil, which were really lots are growing, and this red path that you're walking in, there are pebbles, they will prick you, but then they won't hurt you, so they'll keep you more grounded, and yeah, so the convergence has happened, and you have to just trust yourself and go on this path. And I just do a quick drawing also. So yeah, it was beautiful for me, the way it flowed.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the connection, the color to the root chakra is also red. So I found it interesting that it was a red road that came up for you.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, anybody else want to share?
Yeah, hi. So when you talked about the inner child and the inner mother, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I could connect quickly, very quickly actually, because it's like I'm into this phase and there are situations wherein I'm like able to revive my inner mother, and but
Mm,
quickly the inner child takes over. So like that
mm,
conflict keeps on happening,
yeah.
but like I could feel it subconsciously that suddenly something happens and I'm not able to control it, and then it takes over. And there are times when I'm like flowing and I let it happen and I forgive, but other time it just the child appears and it like just it takes over everything and then it just
Mm,
ruins everything.
yeah.
So when I was writing, it was sort of easy to connect because I liked that self of mine, which was forgiving and which was kind and which wanted to let go of things. So I was addressing to that part and I kept on writing. I wrote what I wanted it to be like and what I wanted me
Mm,
to be right now and later. So yeah,
yeah.
that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Mm. Yeah, those are all beautiful reflections. It sounds like you all already had some sort of connection with your inner mother, so it's really great to hear. Um, yeah, I'll just kind of um, make the connections between the root chakra and the menstrual cycle, or the moon cycle. Um, transition into that, and um, if you already know, there are 4 main phases in the menstrual cycle. Um, so there's menstruation, obviously, during your period, and there is pre-ovulation, which is the time right after your period. Then there is ovulation, where you're releasing your egg for ovulation, and then there is premenstrual, which is the time right before your next period. So the root chakra and the new moon, both, all 3 together, are combined with the connection to your period, to the menstruation time. Um, and so the menstruation time um, of the cycle and uh, the new moon in the time of the lunar cycle are the times to really come back to your foundation, to your grounding. The physical act of bleeding, of experiencing your period, is a grounding experience because your energy is moving downward, um, as the blood is flowing out of you. So that is the most grounding part of your menstrual cycle. And also connected with the new moon in the lunar cycle. Now, it doesn't really depend on when you bleed, as I have been bleeding on the full moon for the past year or so. And that's called a red moon cycle. And then a white moon cycle is when you're bleeding with the new moon, which one of the interesting facts that I love to tell people is that before electricity, almost all of the majority of women were bleeding on the new moon, because our cycles are connected to the moon's energy, and being approximately 28, 29, 30 days, which is the same as the moon cycle. Um, Without artificial lighting, that your cycle will sync up to the moon. And if you want to actively try and sync your cycle with the moon, you can also do that as well. All you have to do is spend less time in artificial light and go outside at the nighttime and spend time in the moonlight. So if you want to try and sync yourself up with the moon. But that sort of energy of bleeding and of the new moon is the grounding energy, the releasing of the past cycle of what has happened during the past lunar cycle, during your past menstrual cycle, and to start anew, and to come back into your body. You know, our periods sometimes demand us very loudly to come back into our bodies, you know, and if we don't listen, if we're not able to connect, then often it comes loudly with a lot of pain and mood swings and headaches and other symptoms that we might be experiencing. And when you start menstrual cycle awareness and you start to see those patterns and you start to see, oh, what is happening in my life that's, ungrounding or uncentering, that then is causing my period to come with so much pain. And so it becomes a very elaborate system that you can work with, that you can find sort of the ebbs and flows that go throughout your cycle or throughout the moon cycle. So yeah, sort of the new moon and your bleeding time is the reset button. It's the time where you're able to connect back with that inner mother and that time of forgiving yourself for anything that had happened in the previous cycle, and take that time for self-care and to really nurture and love yourself, to set yourself up a good foundation for the cycle that is coming ahead of you. And it's for myself personally, I have found that when I do not take that time during my bleeding time or during the new moon, that I will have a difficult cycle. I will find it really difficult coming into my ovulation, and going into premenstrual especially, I will notice more symptoms, more mood swings than when I really take some time out to care for myself during my bleeding time. So that's sort of the call for our body, is to find that grounding in that center, to reset. And something that I really love to do as a grounding practice is to connect with the earth during my menstruation time. And you can do this in a couple different ways, and it might be difficult depending on where you live. But one practice that's probably the simplest of practice is called earthing. And earthing is basically just putting your bare feet on the ground, putting your bare feet on soil or on grass, whatever you can find that is part of the earth, to be able to ground yourself. And it has, there's been extensive research that has showed that actually there are energetic channels in the soil, that when we connect our bare feet with the soil, that we collect that energy from the earth. And it's also another way to connect to the mother archetype, if we see the earth as our mother. And then that's a way that we can come back into our body and back into groundedness, and really feel the literal ground beneath us. And if you want to do a little more, and if you have this space that you are able to, you can actually just sit on the ground while you are bleeding and allow your blood to go into the ground. It is a very, very grounding practice, and it's not always available to people depending on where you live and what is around you. But if you're able to do that, that's a very grounding practice. And if you aren't experiencing a menstrual cycle, even just being on the ground or sitting bare on the ground under the new moon could also be a practice of grounding and resetting yourself and collecting that energy from Mama Earth. And another practice that is easier if in your home, if you have any plants, or outside your house around, if you have trees and ground plants, you can also offer your blood to the plants. And actually your blood is very nutrient rich and has a lot of good juicy things for the plants. And so if you use, it's easiest if you use a menstrual cup, or if you use cloth pads to either mix the blood with the menstrual cup with some water, and then offer that to your plants when you're watering them. Or whenever you are using cloth pads, if you rinse them out with water and then use that water to then water your plants. And so that's just another way that you can connect your body and what is happening to you with the connection of the grounding energy of the earth. Yeah, those are just some suggestions I have, and I'm sure maybe some more will come up and I'll be able to share later. But yeah, our menstrual cycles are very sensitive to changes that we experience. So anytime we travel, we can notice our cycle being disrupted. Or if we're going through different time zones, our cycle will be disrupted. Or if we are experiencing any sort of fight or flight response, any threat to our survival, our cycle can be thrown off because our body does not feel safe to ovulate and to bring an egg. So it's very important that we, especially during those times when our survival is threatened or we're feeling that stress and fight or flight, that we find our grounding and our centering practice through that. So yeah, I'm just wondering really, really quickly if anybody has any self-care practices that you do throughout your cycle, or especially during your bleed time, or that you have done in the past when you had a cycle, or anything you're wanting to introduce to do for the new moon or your bleeding time. Yeah, just interested if anybody has any thoughts around that.
One of the things that I do is completely lie flat on my back, on the ground, on the grass, or sometimes even if it's afternoon and if one is near a rock and then it's hot, and then when you lie completely flat on it, I feel a lot of the pain gets sort of taken away. And what you were saying in terms of bleeding into the earth, I do it more of just squatting in the bathroom, and every day when I have the bath, and I actually let sit like that for 5 to 10 minutes. One is I've seen that it clears my clots much faster. Also that I think, and we have a bathroom floor which is made of stone, so somewhere in still feels like closer to earth. So two of this I find extremely and actually to say that sometimes that even when I plan a training or I have to plan a travel, most of most of the times I do care not to do it on the first or second day of my periods. I do. I mean, it might sound strange to people that when I say that I'm actually free, but I wouldn't want to do it on those 2 days, because I feel that's how consciously I have to give myself rest and not bother myself. So yeah. some things.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, does anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that, I'm getting in touch with how post-menopausal you can really lose touch with your body.
Hmm.
During the when you're in a menstrual cycle, then maybe by force, you are very much in touch with what's happening to you, but there is a freedom associated with the menopause. Especially in India, where we have gone through a lot of practices during the menstrual cycle, which has been ingrained in you, whether you believe it or not. Yeah, that it is impure, that it's dirty, so you should not touch this, you should not do that. All those things which consciously I have grown out of, but then it is still there somewhere in your system. So therefore, so menopause is really a freedom from all that. And so I realize that, and I keep talking this to many people, many of my friends, and say that, look, yes, it is a freedom from one thing, but then don't lose touch of your body. And it's very easy to lose touch of your body when you are in a menopause, when you reach menopause. And so therefore, today what I've learned is that okay, I may not be menstruating, but then I can very well be much easier to be in the moon cycle, because I just connect from my feeling, my womb, my body to the cycle of the new moon now. So one of the practices in the new moon that I really believe in is to be much more quieter within myself. Just be quieter, that's all. And not get into a flurry of activity and going around and rushing around and things like that. And when I do that, when I'm forced to do it because of circumstances, it's really tiring you out. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I love hearing the insight from women that are in menopause, because it's something I obviously haven't experienced. So it's great to hear and for you to share with us. Yeah, anybody else want to share on that point?
Yeah, I do agree with what she said about losing. You definitely feel a void, a difference after you go through menopause, and that's just a part of you that you were so used to, and it's gone now, and you just go into a different mode. So body becomes kind of like a second thought. You don't really think about it, and it changes so much. At least my body changed a lot after I went through menopause. So that's kind of a difficult thing to learn to deal with, and sometimes if you let it go too long, it's a difficult thing to overcome and come back from. So just because of your hormones, and you're tired, and all those kind of things, so you really have to push yourself to want to make those changes, to have to make things better. So it definitely is a difference. And mine was not a natural menopause. Mine was basically a medical menopause, because I had some bleeding issues one time and had to have an ablation. So I had a few periods after that, but they just kind of slowly died off. And I agree with what she said about the fact that it's, originally it is very freeing. It's like you spend a lot of your youth saying, oh my gosh, I wish I didn't have this anymore. And then when it comes, it's like, oh, okay, like I'm not having this anymore. But, on the flip side, the rest of your body is changing, in ways that you weren't really maybe prepared for. So that's kind of my take from the menopause side.
Thank you. Yeah, we only have a couple more minutes left, and something I was just wanting to read for you was an affirmation that is for our grounding and our centering. So, yeah, if you want to just, again, find your comfortable seat and close your eyes if you wish, and I'm just going to read this affirmation over you and allow the words to sink in for you. And if you want to, you can silently say the words with me. All times. I'm doing the very best for myself that I possibly can. I forgive and release the past and live in the here and now. I take responsibility for who I am and how my life is. I know I'm worth giving myself the things I need. I honor the mother in me, which knows the best for me at all times. I release all doubts and fears, which block the way for love and abundance to come into my life. Just allow those words to sink in. You can gently open your eyes and come back. Yeah, and something I encourage you to do when we get off this call is to just set an intention for this cycle that is beginning now with the new moon that has just happened. And yeah, when you set an intention, you are creating this space for manifestation to be possible. You are opening yourself up for the things that you wish for your life to come into being. And yeah, I want you to all know, those of you that aren't already in the Facebook group, I have also created a Facebook group for the Lunar Temple that throughout this next cycle, I'll be sharing different ways to help us ground and center, and through yoga, through food, our diets, through other practices. I have a couple more guided meditations that I'll do on live in that Facebook group. So you can either just search for the Facebook group called Lunar Temple, or you can find my Facebook page, Divine Flow, and the Facebook group is connected to that page. So you can come in there and we'll be sharing more things that come up throughout the cycle with one another there. So does anybody else have any other questions or feedback? And then just kind of wrap it up, as it's almost 10 o'clock now here in India.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself.
I wanted to say I like the quiet slow pace of the circle, and the meditation and the connecting. and how the menstrual cycle and the new moon and the chakra, you're connected to all the three.
Mm-hmm.
So that was beautifully done, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up.
I also wanted to thank you. Like, I could connect to a lot of things right now, and in the phase I am right now, it was very helpful to know of a lot of things. Like, the things were subconsciously there, but to consciously talk about it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Something changes and it gets you drawing. And it was like in the morning, so I'm starting my day with it. So it was really helpful. Thank you.
Yes, yes, thank you. Hopefully I will see you throughout the lunar cycle in the Facebook group, and I'll also be sending out this recording if anybody wants to watch it again, or if you want to share it with others that were in your circle that weren't able to come live, you can do that. So what's your email for that to come out? And then I will let you know whenever the next new moon circle will happen in July. So thank you, and
Can
you all have. What's that?
Meghan, can you let us know the dates as soon as possible, so that I don't miss it, and what the timing you're going to put it for that? That's very important. Yeah.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
I will share all of that in the Facebook group, and then I'll create another event as well, so that you can all see that. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.